Howdy neighbors, welcome to the homestead today. Appreciate you joining me for this little video here today. We got a couple things going on. I was going to show you the garden. I say all good things must come to an end, so we're going to show you that. Then we're going to go inside and Josie's going to share her recipe for green tomato relish. And before we get started with all that, if you're not a subscriber, if you'd like to help our channel, if you like what we got here, what we show, well, hit that subscribe button. It would certainly help us out. If you comment, let us know what you do in the fall. You know, usually in the fall of the year, you're thinking everything's done, but we actually do a lot in the fall to finish up our season before Thanksgiving. We try to get everything wrapped up garden-wise here. I know if you're up north, you probably have to do that a little sooner. But anyway, if you hit that subscribe button, comment, give us a thumbs up. It always certainly helps our channel, and we appreciate all of you today for watching the video here. And as you know, we had an ice storm come pretty close here. We did not get any ice. In fact, it was after that went through, then we finally got down to freezing. We got a pretty good frost. It got down to 33. Then the next night it got down to 30, enough that it froze ice on the water troughs. But by 9 o'clock in the morning, everything was melted and gone, and it was warming back up. And it's supposed to be pretty weather now today. And the next several days here, we're supposed to have very beautiful weather and have been, so we're thankful for that, and we're thankful that we dodged the bullet. God blessed us so we didn't get that terrible ice. Our friends out to the west, man, they have been hammered out there with the devastation in the trees, you know, and a lot of them trees are old and been some of the trees are hundreds of years old and different things. And they get all this ice, and one thing made it worse was they still had their leaves. So they get all this ice plus the leaves. But we did get a bunch of rain here. Had it turned to ice, we'd have been in bad trouble. I did a video about the ice storm and some stuff we'd heard. But today, we're out here in the garden. Before all that come along, Josie said we need to get out there and get everything picked because the weather service is saying we could get an ice storm here. And we might have jumped the gun a little bit, but we need to get it done. It's, getting here now, November. So, like I say, I like to see all that kind of stuff wrapped up as much as we can before Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving, you kind of can lay back a little bit, and it gets colder weather after that and stuff. But this year we kind of jumped into the cold earlier than normal, but now we're going back to kind of a spring-like weather, and it's supposed to be in the 50s the next few nights. It's just crazy. If you don't like the weather, just wait, it'll change. But I was going to show you a little bit here in the garden. I wanted to show you here, if you're a viewer in the garden, you know, you've seen my tomatoes. They were so beautiful. Now, a lot of these have died out, wilted, but that's normal. Some of them will do that. But the vines are so green, and even got a few that I seen some blooms out here, like they're trying to bloom again. But I don't know why. It just hadn't gotten cold enough, but you would have thought the other morning at 30 degrees, it would have killed my tomatoes totally out. And the peppers here, they don't look very pretty, but Josie picked them off, cleaned them up, got all the peppers off so she could put them up. And then my okra, I'll show you a video of this before long. I'm going to save seeds, but see how them pods are getting dried out? I'll take them and get them picked off one day, and I'll shell the seeds out, and I'll have an abundance of seeds. Still got some green pods, but the dried ones is what I'm looking for, and they're ready now. I'll probably let them, this week's supposed to be dry. I'll probably let them dry this week real good, and then but I want to show you my turnips. I planted these in around August, and we've ate on turnips all year. I've got another row over there that they're not looking very pretty now, but I think we could still eat on some of them. But look at these pretty turnips, how they are doing. And we like the greens, or I do. Josie doesn't much care for the greens, but I like them. But we also like the the bulbs especially. We like them fried. We like them boiled. I like them baked. I mean, the turnip bulb, the root part, is just delicious. But look how pretty them purple top turnips are. They have really done good this year. I got a whole row down through here, more than enough than what we need. But we have friends and relatives and stuff that if they want turnips, they can just come by and get them some turnips to eat. Some people call the turnips poor man food, but I like eating like a poor man. They know how to eat. And I guess I am a poor man. So anyway, there's this little bit of the garden. All good things must come to an end. It's sad to see it look this way, but I'll get in here and get it all tilled up here this winter, get it ready for spring, and we'll start the whole thing back over. Anyway, we're going to head in the house here and film Josie making some green tomato relish. Before I go, I just want to say about the green tomato relish. She'll explain all this in her video. What I like with the green tomato relish or chow chow or any of that kind of stuff, it brings back memories of my childhood. And when we were kids, we had so many beans that you had to doctor them up. When it seemed like beans was with every meal. And so this green tomato relish she makes, now she makes a real fine, kind of more finely chopped green tomato relish. But I like too, a lot of them around here have big chunked green tomato relish, and we go out to eat at a catfish restaurant a couple of times a year, and I always love their green tomato relish because it's kind of in big chunks. But anyway, they don't really matter if it's big chunks, little chunks, it's all really good. And I love this relish that Josie makes. We don't eat a whole lot of it anymore because it has sugar in it. And but every once in a while, and we don't eat as many beans as we did when I was growing up. But as a kid, my grandmothers and aunts and different ones, they made this, made relishes and chow chow and different things because you needed something to help keep that beans and black-eyed peas and all that from all tasting the same. And they call it food fatigue. And if we ever got in bad times, folks, we would need some things to help out with the food fatigue. But right now we're blessed. God's blessed us so abundantly here in America, and probably most of the world, that we throw away more food enough to feed a lot of small countries here in America. So but anyway, we're just blessed and stuff, but we get spoiled. But if we ever had to go back to a time where we were living off of beans like we were when I was a child, I think we would need more chow chow and green tomato relish and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we enjoy this. It's something that's kind of a comfort thing in the winter. But anyway, we're going to go in the house here and watch Josie make green tomato relish.
Well, hi everybody, and today we're going to make green tomato relish. And it's the end of season here in Oklahoma. The tomatoes are done, the peppers are done, and so now it's time to make green tomato relish. It could be totally green if I used all green peppers, bell peppers, hot peppers, but I'm just going to use what I have, and we don't care if it's multicolored, but you can make it solid green if you just use all green. Of course you're going to use green tomatoes, but if you use all green, you'll have green. If not, it'll be more confetti, but it's still green tomato relish. This is my grandma's recipe. I don't know if she's the originator of the recipe. If she was, but she's the one that made it, and I got my recipe from her, and so I call it Granny's green tomato relish. And the first thing we're going to do, oh, I need to tell you, I didn't have enough green tomatoes this year in the garden at the end to make the entire recipe. So I'm halving the recipe. All of my ingredients here will be half of what the recipe calls for. But to not confuse anybody, because math is involved and I'm kind of slow in that area, I'm just going to give you the ingredients as if you were making an entire batch. Okay, so all of my stuff's going to be half. The first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to have your green tomatoes. Now I've already chopped up all of my vegetables simply because the tomatoes needed and the onions needed to be put in canning salt and let the water weep out of those, and so I've already done that. So my tomatoes and my white onions, Howie, can you see this, are all mixed together. And they have done their thing. They've been rinsed. Make sure after you soak, excuse me, after you soak something in salt, canning salt, that you drain it, because it will taste horrible if you don't. Your recipe will be super, super salty no matter how much sugar you put in it. Excuse me, folks. Okay, so the first thing you do, get your tomatoes and your onions ready. Have them rinsed and drained really well. That's the first thing that's going to go in your pot. And the recipe calls for 1.5 gallons, so this is half of that, of green tomatoes. And you need 8 quarts of chopped, 3 quarts of chopped white onions. Y'all excuse me for just a second. I'll tell you like I tell them at church, I'm not sick with the virus that's going around. I have allergies and they hit me. And the harder I try not to cough, the worse it gets. So forgive me for that. So anyway, the first thing you're going to do is get your...
coffee made if you want to get your coffee. Would that help you any?
It might. So the first thing you're going to do is get your tomatoes and your onions in the pot. And hopefully I got a big enough pot. Okay. The next thing that you're going to need, besides your tomatoes and onions, is... you're going to need chopped bell peppers. And you're going to need 1 quart of chopped bell peppers. And you're going to put those in there too. I'll tell you, when I get this all together, I'll tell you what my granny's recipe says. She was notorious for writing recipes this way. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is 1.5 pints of hot peppers, chopped up. Now, I have never made it without the hot peppers. I'm sure that you could. But I promise you, my family doesn't like super hot, except my son. And the relish is not hot. Do you think it's hot, Howie?
No.
It's not hot at all. The sugar, all of the other stuff takes the hot out. But like I said, you might be able to, you could probably use habanados or natapinos and still get the taste that the hot peppers have, that taste. The smokiness without the heat. But I can't swear to that because I've never tried it. Okay, after you get all your vegetables in there, the next thing that you're going to need is your vinegar. The recipe calls for 1/2 gallon. So remember, I'm making half, so I'm just going to, that would be 2 quarts. So I'm just going to put in 1 quart of white distilled vinegar. I have never tried apple cider vinegar. Grandma used this. So I can't attest to whether apple cider vinegar would be alright. I don't know why it wouldn't. It would just probably change the taste just a little bit. But not to where, not in a bad way. Okay, you're also going to need, hold on to your seats, 7 cups of sugar. But keep in mind you're not eating a cup of this at a time. You're just eating a couple of, I don't know that my doctor would even let me do that. But still, 7 cups of sugar. And then you're also going to need 1 tablespoon of mustard seed and 1 teaspoon of turmeric. This is the mustard seed, and I don't need a tablespoon. I need a teaspoon and a half. See, I had to do some math there. You see how long it takes me to do math in my head? Okay, teaspoon and a half for me, but a tablespoon if you're making the recipe of mustard seed. And then you're going to need a teaspoon of turmeric. So 1/2 teaspoon, which I happen to have on here. 1/2 teaspoon. All that together. Now, what I was going to take, this is going to get mixed together, and then it's going to go on the stove. And I'll tell you what my granny's instructions say. And this is how she always wrote her recipes down for you, just like she's talking to you. So think about how you would tell one of your kids to make the recipe. It's not going to read like it was in a professional cookbook. So my granny says cook until your bells, the bell peppers, are changed in color, but don't cook away your tomatoes. So, you know, you with Grandma's recipes, you just kind of, okay, what does she mean by that? So she means don't cook it to the point where you can't distinguish that there's tomatoes in it. Okay, your bell peppers are just going to get a little bit. See how dark green they are in here? That's a bell pepper. See that? How dark green they are? Is that showing high?
Yeah.
Okay, when you cook it till it's translucent, it's going to lose its color. It's not going to be, you know, clear like reading, you know, through glass, but it's going to be lighter colored like what these other peppers are and like what the tomatoes are. And so I'm going to put this on the stove, and when it's ready, I'll come back and we'll do the rest of it. I have my jars in my steam bath, and they're going to be getting hot. Have my lids hot, have everything ready, and then these have to go either in your hot water bath canner, or in my case a steam canner, for 15 minutes, and then it'll be good to go. Put on your shelf, and we eat it with beans and black-eyed peas and meals like that, and we just love it. Okay, everybody, it's cooked down. Remember I said, Granny said, for the bell peppers to get translucent, but don't cook away the tomatoes. Can you see inside this pot, Howie?
Yes, honey.
Okay, see, I'll try to raise it up. You can still see your tomatoes, but you notice the bell peppers are that's what she means when she says translucent. Not clear that you can see through, but see how they're lighter. They're not such a solid anymore. That dark green is gone, and now it's more like the other stuff. That's what she means. And so we're at the point that we can get them going. So we're going to get our first jar, and you can see they're hot from the steam canner. Took me a second. And what we're going to do is fill these right here to the 1-inch headspace right there. And then we'll clean the rims of the jars, we'll debubble, put the lids and rings on them, and we'll get them all in there. So I'll show you a couple. You want to get juice too. Right there to the 1-inch headspace. And I go ahead and I debubble just to make sure there's not going to be any problems with that, because that's trapped air and you don't want that in your food. We need air, but our food doesn't. So I'm going to clean this rim, because that's juice that's in there with all that sugar is sticky, and that will keep your jar from having a good seal on it. So we clean that off. I'm going to get a ring that's hot but not boiled on the ball. We don't have to do that anymore. And a ring. Whoa. Put that in there. And we'll keep going until we get all of our jars filled. I'll keep working on these and get them filled, and we'll get them in our steam canner, and we'll be back and show you that process. It's just simply putting the lid on it, just like your hot water bath canner. The hot water bath canner, you have to wait until it boils. Well, with your steam canner, we'll go over this. You're gonna, if you get one like this that has the gauge in the top of it, you're gonna know what your altitude is. For me, when this little red needle gets all the way over there to that dark green on there, that's when I know that this is ready for me to start timing. And when it does, get over to there, I'll start timing for 15 minutes, and then the relish will be done, and we'll let it set for 5 minutes with the lid on it, and then I'll be able to take it out. just going to keep getting these filled. And we're going to have some good green tomato relish. If y'all can hear in the background how he's got his attention is torn between me and Marshall Dillon. I'll get this one done for you.
I turned it down if you're going to be like that.
I'll get this one done for you, and then I'll do the rest of it off camera so he can finish watching.
Well, the Marshall's been shot, and I'm wondering if he'll survive.
Okay. We'll get this one done, and I'll do the rest of the filling off camera. Just another. Ooh, that's hot. Hot, 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 hot. Okay, we'll be back in a little bit. We've got the canner full. I'm going to turn it back on. I'm going to get it going. And like I showed you a while ago, when that comes up to there, to that green, the dark green, I'll start timing it for 15 minutes. Leave it in there just like you would a hot water bath canner, only this is steam. Just takes a little bit of water compared to a hot water bath canner. We'll get that done, and then I'll let it sit with the lid on it for 5 minutes before I take it off and move my jars so that they can rest until tomorrow, which tomorrow's Sunday, so they'll probably wait till Monday to get washed and have the rings removed off of them. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and I'll come back and show you later. Okay guys, so this is, I just showed you what I've done with the tomatoes. I still have some red tomatoes and some Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes out in the fridge on the front, on the back porch. And the Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes, in my opinion, are delicious. They're a orangey tomato, so it took me a little bit of time this summer when I first got my first ones. I thought, man, those things are not getting ripe. They're not getting ripe. And I forgot that they were just supposed to be that color, orange. But anyway, kind of like this color right here on this pepper. But they're really good. They're not really acidic. So if you wanted to eat them at breakfast, or you wanted to eat them and not get that acidity feel, those are really good tomatoes. Anyway, the tomatoes are out there. I have just a few left like this. And then here's the last of our pepper harvest. The last of my green bell peppers. And all of this right here is habaneros, and they are too hot for me to handle. And these are blades. He grew one pepper plant, and it came out with all of these hot peppers. And he has a lady, a friend of his that he went to school with. His grandma is a little Mexican woman, and he's supposed to take these to her for her to do something with them for him. And then jalapenos. Now these jalapenos, a bunch of these are cracked. And then I forgot what those are, but they're hot.
Cayenne.
They're cayenne. And I'm going to put some of those on the dehydrator, and I think make some pepper sauce, and then I might hang one string of them just to let them dry naturally. But I think that's the end of our garden harvest for this year. I take that back. I'm sorry. We still have turnips and pinto beans that are drying because they, there's not an emergency on them. And is that it, Howie?
I think so.
So 2020, thank goodness, is quickly getting behind us, and we're looking forward to a better 2021. Keep your seeds and get seeds. Be prepared for next year. Anyway, when this is done, we'll show you what it looks like. And I can't hardly wait for this winter to have a pot of beans and some of that relish. It's really good.
It's making me hungry. Well, neighbors, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching Josie make the relish, and I hope you'll overlook the camera flaws. I'm learning to be a better cameraman for her. And our old tripod there was loose, and I got it tightened up now, but after I got finished video, and then I figured out what the problem was. But anyway, it was kind of loose, and I wasn't real steady with the camera. I don't know how much it'll show up there, but we appreciate you all watching, and God bless you. We're gone.